So when I get started my property journey, I was 19, so I started quite young. So it was just over 12 years ago. So I don't know if anybody in the room can relate. I hope I'm not the only one, all right? So growing up in the south side of Glasgow, and I just knew I wanted something else. I wanted to make money, mainly because where I grew up, you know, it was a single parent, my mum with my two younger sisters. We really did genuinely struggle. It was a tough upbringing. It just is what it is. It's no sob story. It's just that we had a tough upbringing. Now, I only met my real dad for the first time 6 years ago and found out I had an older brother, older sisters, and a whole new family. But back in the day growing up, single parent, seeing my mum struggle was a driving force for me. You know, seeing other people get the nicer things, going on holidays. I mean, my first ever holiday abroad was like in my early 20s. I was jealous of seeing everybody else go on holiday and I couldn't get to. Our holiday was Butlins. Not that anything's wrong with that, but that's what it was. That was the big holiday for us. Now, watch my mum struggle growing up. I knew I wanted some more. And I don't know if anyone else can relate, but the internet was really just kicking off. So I was online looking for get rich quick schemes. Anybody been there? Or just, thankfully it's been more than just me. So that was me. I was online looking for how can I get rich quick? And what kept on popping up was property. Not that you can get rich quick, but you can get seriously wealthy. One thing I noticed is that the Sunday rich list, the Sunday Times rich list happened to be published at that time, 12 years ago. I went on and looked at, on the top 100, over 80% had either created their wealth through property investing or had invested their wealth into assets through property. So I thought, okay, great. Well, that must be a good place to start. And so around about this time in my late teens, so I'm now going 18, 19, fleeing the nest, going to college and then university. Some people think it's, I got my degree when I was 19. Apparently that's almost impossible to happen. I never knew it was. So I went straight from school, got HNC in college, HND, then straight into university in my third year in university, because you go straight from having your HNC and HND and got my degree at 19. Now that I found out that's quite a big deal, for me growing up in my mid-20s and stuff, I didn't think I was all that special, but now I know that if I get a degree when I'm 19, it's actually quite a big deal. But I get a degree in computing, and I absolutely hated computing. So I get a degree in computing, went into the world of IT, so I got a job in IT, and around about that time, this is me online, searching for all this stuff and how to make money, the property bug was dropped. And during that time when I'm working in IT, making trips from Glasgow all the way through to Edinburgh, getting up early in the morning to get through there, to miss the rush hour, likewise driving back, and I hated computers. I mean, go figure. So when I was doing all of that, there was a seminar that came up from an American firm called Russ Whitney. So they were doing something in the Radisson Hotel in Glasgow. So I went along and I went in there, and there was probably a small room. There was only about 30 people in the room. Everyone had suits on, and and they were all a lot older. And people were coming up to me and asking me, "Oh, where's your parents?" So, by the way, this has took me almost a year to grow something here, right? Right, and to make me look a bit older. But imagine me being 18, getting into a room where there's 30 people that were in their late 20s, early 30s, maybe older as well, and they would ask me, "Oh, where's your parents?" "Oh, I'm just here myself." So I'm sitting there listening, and what happened is the girl that was doing the training, she got the whiteboard out, and she said, if you buy property today, you buy a property worth £100,000, then within 10 years, it's going to double in value, it's going to be worth 200,000. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm only 18 here. If I buy a property worth £100,000, before I'm 30, if I had 10 of those, it'll be worth 200. I sell them, then I've got £1 million. That's my roadmap to become a millionaire. That's my roadmap before I'm 30 to have made it. Now that's pretty ignorant to think that, because my current situation was I had no money, I had no knowledge. They just told me that if I wanted to invest to learn how to do this, it'd be £25,000, so I never had that money either. Billy shared the story about being younger, getting overdrafts, getting credit cards. I mean, I don't know if anyone can remember those days, but it was the same. You were getting student loans, credit cards, everybody was giving you credit. And what do you do when you're in your late teens and early 20s? If you're anything like me, the money doesn't go on investments, does it? It goes on partying for the weekend, buying my M-Reg Ford Fiesta for 500 quid and then paying £1,500 for insurance. That's the kind of stuff that went on, right? Crazy things like that. Living for the weekend. So I had bad credit, I took out the loans. Thankfully, some of the loans that I took, I invested in my education. So I went down south, went to a T. Harv Eker seminar in London. So if you don't know who T. Harv Eker is, check him out. And the name of the seminar was Your Millionaire Mind Intensive. It's just this word millionaire. Millionaire Mind Intensive. Well, I need to go and change my mind because right now my surroundings are pulling me down. Everyone's telling me that I can't do this. Everybody's saying that, who are you to go out there and buy property? What, buy 10 properties, Paul? You joking? Look at your situation. That's not for you. Just stick in at IT and work hard. And what I saw as the roadmap is that, I looked further ahead. I looked at my manager and I saw that he was on a salary of about £40,000-50,000 and he was in his late 50s. And I thought, well, do I need to work the corporate ladder that we're taught in school? What are we taught in school? Stick in, work hard, study hard, get good grades, go to university and get a degree. And then, hey, go and pursue your career and work up that corporate ladder. And if you're lucky, you'll invest in your first property that you'll live in. And then you'll pay off that mortgage. And then you'll settle down, get a family, you'll get your one holiday a year. And then you might just hit the pinnacle of success in that corporate ladder when you're in your 40s and 50s. And let's just pray and hope that you've invested some money to have a pension. And if that continues, what happens when you pay off the mortgage? Maybe you're in your late 60s, early 70s. And if you don't live a healthy life, you might kick the bucket a bit early, and then what happens? It gets left to your kids for them to go and blow the money. That's the roadmap I saw, and I thought, no, I don't like that. That doesn't look well for me. That's not what I want for my reality. So for me, being, in IT, going along to that seminar, the bug was there. Going down to London, going to the Harv Eker trainings. And what happened is Harv Eker was talking about, we'll totally change your life from the mindset and all of this kind of stuff. And if you want to invest and come with it, it's £8,000 for his Quantum Leap package. Now I'm sitting there going, deliberately went down to London and left my credit cards in the house. But I go to the back of the room and I phoned my girlfriend at the time and says, can you give my credit card details? Trying to put £500 down just to secure my place. I had no idea how I was going to come up with the rest of the money. I just knew that I had to do this. I knew I wanted something different. So I put the £500 down, came home, and I get phone call after phone call from that company saying, where's the balance? Where's the balance? And I got resourceful. I started selling some of my stuff. I had decks. They were my pride and joy, record playing and all that kind of stuff. I sold my records with it. I sold things just to come up with some money to start paying to fund my education. And I never looked back. It took me to Singapore, Malaysia, London countless of times to totally change my mind. I had to change the way I was thinking. That's why we have a big focus and mindset, and why Billy's done an awesome job this morning, because that is the single most important part, is the mindset. Because all the strategies and stuff, they can work, sure, but if you've not got the right mind to work it, it's not going to happen. So at that time there, I was learning all this stuff. I started to get more confidence in myself. I started changing my surroundings. I started to have people around me that says, Paul, if you want to go and buy property, you can do it. I believe in you. That's a different conversation that I was used to hearing. I was like, oh my God, this is different. Get people actually rooting for me to do well. So I'm going to go for this. And I remember buying my first property. And I'll tell the story later on. But at the time, it wasn't a big deal. In fact, my first property, it wasn't really investment, it was my own home, 95% loan to value mortgage. I had to come up with a 5% deposit, which was put on a credit card to buy my first house. I bought it at £98,000. When the credit crunch happened, it was downvalued at 85. That was my first property purchase. I've done it all wrong, by the way. That's how we can teach you guys how to do it right. I get emotionally attached to that property. You need to be detached. Don't be emotional with any of your purchases. Look at the numbers. But I get emotionally attached. Thankfully, my second purchase was a little bit of a bigger discount. It was 18% below market value. It was my first buy-to-let property that I bought. And I messed all that up as well. That will not bore you with. But the point is, I thought I was structuring it in a way that I never had to put any money in. And then I messed it all up. And the solicitor says, well, you need to come up with £14,000, which is the 15% deposit that was required at the time and the legals. And I'm going, well, I don't have that. Well, why are you buying it for? But I don't know, because I thought I was structuring it in a way that I was going to make money. Well, that can't work. I went, okay, so how do I do this? And I went, I don't know, because you've concluded missives as well, so you're legally tied in to buy this deal, and you're completing in a week's time. So I am literally losing my mind, not wanting to tell any of my family and friends for them to turn around and say, I told you so. So what did I do? I got resourceful again. I started hustling my way around to, at the time, increase my overdrafts, pull in some money, borrow some money, to come up with that money in a week to buy my first property purchase. And thankfully, because I did buy it at a discount, I did the other part I'm going to show you later on to pull all my money out. But what you can learn from what I'm going to show you later is not do what I did at the beginning to mess it all up, okay? So we can do it right. But that was my start into property. And then in my early 20s, I went from, leaving the IT career to then pursue my first entrepreneurial journey. And this is alongside me buying 1 or 2 properties, to be an events promoter. Because I thought that would be cool. And that lasted for about less than a year, and it failed miserably for me. But it was my first stint in entrepreneurship, and I had lots of people around about me to turn around and say, I told you so. You should have stuck in at IT. You threw that £12,000 a year job away. That's what I was on. 12,000, they just threw that away to go and pursue this event stuff, to promote rubbish. That's what the people were there to say. And the funny thing is, these are the same people that today turn around and say, I always had your back, Paul. I knew you would make it. The fuckers. Right? They forget those early days. They really do. So anyway, so from that point of view, I never let that stop me. At the time, I thought, okay, well, I'm really going to get into this property game. That's when I started doing the hard record training. It all started to come together. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to start learning how to buy property right. I've made a few mistakes. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to network. And I went to a networking event in Glasgow, and the jury's in. Again, there was about 20 odd people in the room, and they were all complaining. Can't find deals, it's too difficult to find deals. Can't find, at the time, a 15% below market value deal, this will become clear if you're not sure what I'm talking about later on, was like an awesome deal. Nowadays, investors are like 15%? Nah, not touching that. But back in the day, that was an awesome deal. So I'm sitting in a room and I'm hearing everybody complain. I just sit in the back and I go, okay, well, here's 20 odd people complaining they can't find a deal. What if I can go out and find a 15% below market value deal? I've got an audience here to sell to. So if I was to bring you, let's say, a 25% below market value deal, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, who would take a deal like that just to see a show of hands? So that was my thought process in the room. So I seen people put their hands up and I thought, great, perfect. So I went away, started hustling a little bit, working the estate agent circuit, contact my main man Billy, who's doing internet marketing at the time. I says, Billy, see that skill set you've got? Do you think you could use that marketing skill set to, market to find motivated sellers? Well, let's give it a go. Then we started doing it, and I got my first deal through that was a 17% below market value deal. So I was going crazy. I thought, this is brilliant, it's an awesome deal. So I go to the networking event the following week, and I go up and everyone's complaining still, and I stand up. Yes, I was still the guy that people would say, where's your parents? That's still happening to me. So I'd stand up and I'd say, okay, well, I've got a 17% below market value deal. And a few chuckles in the crowd. He's got a 15%, 17% below. Just get that. But one guy came up to me and says, show me the deal. So I sat down, showed him the deal, and he turned around and says, okay, I'll buy that from you. And I go, really? I went, yeah. How much will you charge? And that was a question, wasn't it? I was like, £1,000? So he pulled out his briefcase. Yes, he had a briefcase. This is 12 years ago. Pulls out his checkbook. Yes, a checkbook. Do you still use those? And I never saw one before. It was the first checkbook I ever saw. And he writes, so who should I make it to? Paul McFadden? Okay, boom, boom, boom. And he handed it to me and I'm sitting going, well, what did I do with this check? That's not money, That was like me, that's my reality. But part of me was sitting there thinking, why didn't I ask for more? I should have asked for more money. And he turned around and says, okay, so do you have the solicitor? Do you have this? And I went, well, if you've got your guys, because I never knew any of that stuff. So he took it on, and then I thought, okay, great. I found a deal, made my first £1,000 trading property. I never knew that was trading property back in the day. So I thought, okay, great. I have no money. The money I did have, I messed it up in my first couple of property purchases. So my money's in, I owe people money, I'm in debt, I don't really have much contacts, I look so baby-faced and no one's taking me serious. I had all the things that would go against someone or would stop someone from getting started. All of that was my reality. But I thought, okay, what if I get good at actually sourcing the deals? And what if I get good at this, that I can actually charge more money? What if I could do this if I actually had that 17% below market value deal, when everyone wants 15%, why don't I give them it for 15 and keep the 2% in the back end? What if I start building up my power team and leveraging them to make commissions and profits from them as well? So I started in this journey to start working what we talk about, our property deal trading business, and we started to do tons of deals. The average deal was about £5,000. Now around about this time, you could do same-day remortgages, back-to-backs, mandates, all of this stuff. This was all just as the credit crunch had happened. You could do these type of deals. So I was using a bridge and finance company and they were charging like £3,000 a deal to bridge the investors' deposits. So I thought, okay, well, I'm literally 23 at this time. I've packaged up a whole ton of deals and I must have gave this guy over 50 deals. So I'm sitting there going there, he's made 150 grand over the last year and a bit on bridge and finance, just bridging the gap. Now, what if I could bridge that gap? So I started making some money because I'd been trading property. I had a pot of cash there of just over 50,000 sitting there and I'm like, well, I need to do something with it. So I created my first bridge and finance company, called it Ashton Lindberg, because I knew when I was over the phone to someone, they wouldn't see this baby face. And I say Ashton Lindberg, it sounded big and international. That was my game plan. So I'm on the phone and I'm talking to people. Yes, it's Paul McFadden, director of Ashton Lindberg. How can I help? Bridge and finance, sure. You're looking for 60,000? Shit, I've only got 50. Oh yeah, we can look at that. So I had to pull in money left, right, and centre from other people. I got resourceful. I had to pay them some of the commission I was getting, and this just went crazy. That in a very short period of time, as Billy mentioned earlier on, I was banking serious money. We almost did $1 million inside of a year. Crazy. Now, here's the biggest mistake. My welfare thermostat was way down here. Anytime money was coming in, it was just going back out. And I thought this was my gravy train. I thought this was never going to end. I thought I'd made it. I thought I was the man. I employed someone and paid them a £250,000 salary because they said that that's what I need to leave my job and to run your English division. Because a lot of my investors were English investors buying in Scotland. And I thought, who the fuck gets £250,000 for doing nothing? Right? So that was my stupidity back then. And for me as well, the money I was taking for myself from the business, it was just going out. I was going crazy. My friends, I thought I had to impress. Taking them out at the weekends, giving them money when they wanted, taking them on holiday, buying the expensive bottles of champagne and vodka. And I wasn't even drinking the stuff. I had to do this because I thought that that's what it meant to impress and to show off. Just wanting people to want to be in my company. I thought I had to do that. So anyway, when it all stopped from the way that you could do what I was doing in terms of lending, the Law Society changed that process. So I thought, okay, great. Well, what did I do now? I put all my eggs in a basket. I got lazy. I took the foot off the gas. I was spending more money than I was earning. And then it was back to square one. So I decided I had to take almost a year out. What 25-year-old do you know that needs to take a year out? It's crazy. I felt sorry for myself. I had to take a year out. And around about that time, the marketplace started plateauing. I was still doing some refurbs and flips, and I was having to sell below market value still to get them sold. It's different market trends since, I've been in a crashing market, I've been on a plateauing market, and I've been in a buoyant market. So we'll talk about how you take advantage of those later on. But around about this time here is when I started a building company, building that up, and a few other different ventures within property as well, and then started to get back to what I knew, which was trading property. Now, thankfully, when I was making a lot of money, I invested in a lot of properties, so I did have something to show for it. I had assets there. But one thing you're going to realise when I talk about this later on is that when you're building your portfolio up, people think you make money when you hold a portfolio. Now, that's true, but I'm going to show you the actual cost, the 20-year cycle of property investing. Now, if I show you that just now, you probably won't come back for the rest of the day, all right? But there's an upside to this. You need to look at the bigger picture and have an element of trading in your business. This is why when people turn around, Paul, what strategy do you think is great? Do you think serviced accommodation? Do you think it's rent to rent? Do you think about delay completions? What about options? What about commercial residential? What about land? What about all of this stuff? Do you know what? All of those strategies are great. They're great. Can they work? Of course. But one thing that will make sure that they're a success is if you've got cash flow. If you don't have cash flow, forget it. And the quickest and easiest way to get predictable cash flow. When do you have a cash flow problem? When does someone normally have a cash flow problem? When they've got no fucking money. It's never when the bank 50 grand, is it? 20 grand comes in, it's banked. It's like, oh, don't have a cash flow problem anymore, do you? Until when? Until that's almost spent. This is the mentality that I was in and I had to change and start learning about business. That when money drops, pay yourself your set salary, your financial freedom figure, invest the rest or put it aside to allow you to keep on going and growing. So from my point of view, from doing the property trading, it can help you create predictable cash flow. And when that predictable cash flow comes in month after month, by doing simple steps, day in, week in, month in, to bring in predictable cash flow, to cover your overheads, to allow you to focus in this game full time if that's anybody's aspirations. And then you can go and work the other investment strategies knowing that you've got money coming in next month. But the truth of the matter is, Billy shared it, there's your mountain, you're trying to climb 3 or 4 mountains at one time. Go figure. All of those strategies will still be here a year from now, 5 years from now. I mean, people are talking about serviced accommodation as a new buzzword. It's been about for 10 years. Just because Airbnb is blowing it up and people think that it's awesome. I'm not dissing that strategy, it's a great strategy. The point I'm making here is that if I can share with you today just a simple strategy that can give you predictable cash flow, is that okay? Perfect, because everything else is going to click into place and it's going to be fine for you. So from my point of view, I had to get back into that predictability, back into trading property, started building things up. And then the last few years has been a crazy whirlwind. When I was 26, building myself back up from my all-time low to then with sustaining wealth, actually having stability, starting to move into nicer houses, the cars and all that kind of stuff, and actually having a business. That was the big moment for me. Getting in business with Steve McKenna. Billy and I, we've been in business and doing stuff together for forever. But when the three of us really came together, the last few years has been crazy. We've built up the academy. The academy's doing its thing. It's awesome. The education part's a passion thing. We love doing this. This is just a buzz. I might get quite excited later on and go a bit crazy. And you're sitting there probably thinking, what is he on? Bulletproof coffee. Go and check that out. So, and then again, some of the deals we're involved in, I need to pinch myself. Our biggest deal that we're in just now is at Legos at the moment for 2,500 units. Massive commercial centre. We're building our own town effectively. Frightening. To trophy buildings, £1 million plus houses and prime locations. City centre of Edinburgh. We've got a few other locations all over the UK as well. It's just exciting times, working in bigger developments and deals. And we're doing a lot of stuff with a lot of the Platinum members and some of the Protege folk as well, so it's exciting to see what we can do. So that's enough about me, it's enough about us and our journey. But again, if I can go from that little guy that everyone says, where's your parents? Having no money, no contacts, no knowledge, to following a strategy that gave me cash flow, to banking the cash, then losing it, to building it back up, to building strength in companies throughout, then listen, you guys can do it as well. Genuinely. If you want it bad enough.